At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. You can listen to us on SiriusXM Channel 375. Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, noon to 3 Eastern each and every day right here on Westwood One Sports, live from Chicago. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. If you want to join the conversation today, you can call us at 310-840-4910. Seattle wins the Super Bowl 29-13 last night. This is what it sounded like on Westwood One Sports.
In the gun, Drake May, 3rd down 5. He's at his Patriot 44. Running back to his side, Stevenson. Arms outstretched, 4-man rush. Here's the snap. He moves up. He fumbled the ball, and Seattle's recovered. He was hit. The ball crowbarred free. It's a fumble by the Patriot quarterback. And Seattle has recovered at the 37 of New England. First turnover of the game in Super Bowl 60. Darnold under center. 5 on the defensive line. He gets the snap, turns right, fakes the handoff. Here comes the blitz. There goes the throw, end zone. Caught, touchdown! Caught, touchdown, Barner! The tight end, over the shoulder catch in the corner of the end zone. And we've got our first touchdown of Super Bowl 60. And the Seahawks extend their lead early in the 4th, 18-0. Here goes May on 1st and 10, heaving and long, throws, caught, touchdown, far side. Grabbed on that far side by Matt Hollins, an over the shoulder catch at the pylon far side of the end zone. A 35-yard strike. He's at his own 44. The New England quarterback, 2nd down and 3 in the gun, winds up, long pass, down the middle. It's intercepted at the 30-yard line. Coming up the middle of the 40. With the return right here now, it's Julian Love, and he's out of bounds on the near sideline, going into Patriot territory, and he's knocked out of bounds about the 32. It's the second turnover by the second-year Patriot quarterback, Drake May. Shotgun snap, 44 Seattle. He's hit as he drops back. The ball free. Picked up by Noosu. Running down the side. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown! It's picked off and a touchdown! Seattle has scored on another turnover. And that will seal it, it seems, right now for the Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. The clock is ticking, 2-1, and that's it. And the Seattle Seahawks have won Super Bowl 60 in pretty dominating fashion. 29-13, they win their second Vince Lombardi trophy.
There you go, Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner on the call on Westwood One. You could listen to it right here, exclusive home of the NFL. It's Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you on a Monday, recapping the Super Bowl. Seattle's defense, Abdalla, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, 11 quarterback hits. The story of the game yesterday.
Yeah, and that's what sealed it for them. You know, we had playoff Drake May show up yesterday, and that Seattle defense proved why they were the best in the NFL throughout the regular season, the least amount of points per game allowed throughout the regular season. That front seven showed up again, and from every single angle, right? It was pressure after pressure after pressure, and poor Will Campbell on the offensive line.
Poor Will Campbell.
I mean, he had a great regular season, and then the playoffs started, and this guy allowed 14 pressures, 15 pressures in yesterday's game alone. And on the brightest stage, under the biggest platform, the brightest lights, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And this guy, no matter how they chipped, no matter how many guys came over to help him, tight ends, running backs, whatever they could do, they could not help Will Campbell to save their lives. And on that left side, it was just a free-for-all, and Drake May was getting hit after pressure after hit after pressure. He was sacked 6 times, turned the ball over 3 different times, and it was just a free-for-all on that left side, and it absolutely affected him every single time, and that defense just dominated. It was a defensive game. It was obviously a low-scoring game. It got a little sweaty there if you had the under towards the end of the game. Some garbage time touchdowns there. It got a little sweaty.
A lot of points in the fourth.
A lot of points there, but the under did hit if you had that total, if you were playing that. But yeah, the Seattle defense, just the story of their season. Obviously, Mike Macdonald, defensive-minded head coach, proved defense, at least this year, defense wins championships. And that defense, Sam Darnold can, take the chip off of his shoulder, and he can have that full circle moment for him and the bet on yourself and go from seeing ghosts with the Jets and have that game against the Patriots where he was just completely rattled and the camera caught him saying, I'm seeing ghosts out there, and being on his 5th different team in 8 years, and just going through all of that emotionally for him and going from the Vikings last year to the Seahawks this year and betting on himself. And I know he didn't have a great game, and now he's a Super Bowl champion and he can hold that over anybody that ever doubted him, but it was the defense that won the game for the Seahawks yesterday going away.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Sam Darnold aspect is certainly a storyline we will talk about here on the show today. But let's not act like Sam Darnold did something last night that will prop him up higher than what we thought he was.
No.
Seattle can win when he doesn't turn the football over. He didn't turn the football over last night, and Seattle won the game. I think it's that simple because you look at the stat line, 19 for 38, 202 yards, 1 touchdown. He only was sacked once. I mean, Sam Darnold didn't do anything that was special last night. Mm-hmm. Seattle's defense is the reason they won this game. Kenneth Walker running the football like he did last night with the 27 carries for 135 yards. That's why they're the Super Bowl champions today. And it's definitely a situation where you and I looked at it, and we were in San Francisco last week covering Radio Row and talking to all the former players. Almost every single former player we talked to last week told us that Seattle was going to win this game, win this game big. Very few told us that it was going to be close. And there was one, I think it was Chad Brown, was the only one that told us that the Patriots were going to win. Yeah. Every other former athlete that we talked to was taking Seattle. The players knew that this was a mismatch. And you and I also talked about it going into the week, is that based on stats, Seattle was kind of set up for, could this be a historic run to the Super Bowl? And until it happens, it's tough to put a historical context on something that's taking place in real time. But what we do know now, looking back on it, is all of the advanced metrics throughout the season into the playoffs and heading to the Super Bowl, they were all right. Seattle was by far the best team this season, And they are in the conversation of having one of the best seasons we've ever seen in the National Football League, even though it's not flashy, right? There was no song and dance number from Seattle midway through the season predicting a Super Bowl, right? Like there's no catchy nickname. I know the dark side defense was something that has now caught wave here in the last 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're in Seattle, you're like, that's what they call it. But like it seems like Tirico really leaned in heavy to that as the game went on, and as it was very obvious after the second quarter that Seattle was going to win this football game.
Yes.
But like to me, there's nothing that stands out except for just a good football team. Like there's not something that we would have known back in the summer to say this is a team that's going to go on a historic Super Bowl run. Pretty unique, pretty cool. And I think that's what separates the NFL from every other sport is like, really, you can win a championship for almost anywhere. And I think that's what my takeaway is with Super Bowl 60 last night.
And I think they knew something when they obviously signed Sam Darnold, and they knew that they had something in him with this historic defense. And we did talk about it when we were previewing this game last week, that when you have a guy like Sam Darnold, you're allowed to take risks when you have this kind of defense. When you have this kind, and we saw him, and Chris Collinsworth was talking about it on the game yesterday. I wouldn't have thrown that towards the end of the game when they were trying to put the game away. I wouldn't have thrown that to that outside route at the end of the game because the only thing that'll kill you there is a pick six. But guess what? When you have this kind of defense, you can do that because they can save you. The game was out of reach, but they're willing to take risks because they have this kind of defense. Sam Darnold can throw into traffic multiple times and risk turnovers because he has this kind of defense and because the Patriots, for 3 quarters, didn't look like they were going to score. Like, there was a certain point in the game where they were bringing up, well, no team's ever been shut out in the Super Bowl before, and we're kind of heading in that direction where we need to talk about how this could be a historic night where no team has ever been shut out, and this might be the first team that gets shut out in a Super Bowl ever. Now, eventually, the Patriots did go on to score a few times, but it didn't look good for them for a while. And for a while, it didn't look like we were going to get a touchdown at all in this game because both defenses were playing really well and both quarterbacks were really struggling to move the ball down the field. It was really driven by Kenneth Walker in the running game, and that was even struggling to get going for a while. But, you don't go away from the run. You don't go away from what got you there. And for Seattle, it was the running game. For, the Patriots, it was Drake May in this passing game, and they kept on trying to move the ball down the field that way, and it bit them a few times because Drake May threw those 2 interceptions. He had the fumble, and he kept on taking sacks. And it's something that we talked about throughout the postseason. He took 15 sacks, 5 per game, leading into the Super Bowl. And in this game, he was sacked 6 times and pressured 1,000 times. Almost every drop back, the dude was feeling pressure.
Yeah.
Because of that left side and Will Campbell. And this Seahawks defense was relentless. And they normally don't blitz. And in that first quarter, almost through the entire first half, they were bringing everybody.
They were going.
And normally that leaves guys open in one-on-one coverage in the backfield, and Sam Darnold Drake May just couldn't find them because of the relentless pressure that Mike McDonald just felt like bringing, and he was going to rattle Drake May early and often, and it worked because they were getting after him. And whatever it was, whether it was the injured shoulder or just the fact that, I get it, his shoulder is probably injured, and he said that he got a shot before the game.
It's not probably, it is.
It is. However,
well, I mean,
Chris,
isn't that, I mean, you take that many sacks, that's why you're going to be injured. Heading into a game like that.
However,
he
was sacked 5 times a game leading into this game.
Most sacks in postseason history.
He was sacked 6 times in this game.
Most turnovers, tied for the most turnovers in postseason history.
I saw what I've seen throughout the entire postseason with Drake May just continue in the Super Bowl. So he can be injured, but Seattle did exactly what I told you what they would do last week. Exactly what I told you.
Yeah.
I told you they would get to him. I told you they would sack him. And I told you that he would turn the ball over because that's what Drake May has been doing in the playoffs. He had an MVP-like season in the regular season, but for some reason in the playoffs, whether it was Will Campbell and the protection breaking down or him just feeling like he needs to go out there and make every single play possible and holding on the ball for too long, or just playing these great defenses in the Broncos and the Texans and now the Seahawks, it just didn't work out for him. And he was sacked 21 times in the postseason and turned the ball over a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, for the Patriots offense, they get to the Super Bowl by scoring 16 points against the Chargers, 28 points against the Texans, and then 10 points against Denver. So it wasn't as if, and we knew this going into the game, that Drake May has struggled here in the playoffs, and this offense has struggled. And it was clear from the start yesterday, first quarter, that the Patriots offense was going to have a really difficult day, and that's where Seattle was just teeing off. I mean, Witherspoon finding his way on blitzes to get through and to hit multiple times Drake May really was a part of the game-changing aspect from the Seahawks. They had zero respect from Drake May going over the top. Now, he did connect late. Hollis got a touchdown, and there were a couple nice throws late fourth quarter as the Patriots were starting to become desperate as they were down big. But essentially, Seattle's defense was suffocating. And just the ability to have that pressure, 11 quarterback hits, made such a difference in this game. And I think that's where, if you want to talk football today with Bleck Abdalla, you can call us at 310-840-4910. That's where I look at this conversation. And looking at what Seattle was able to do, it didn't really ask a lot from the offense. And this isn't meant as a knock, but with Jackson Smith and Jigba missing most of the game with the concussion protocol, and then he had the leg situation, like a heel injury that he came out for some time during the game. Like, without the separation from Jackson Smith and Jigba in the secondary, like, Seattle's offense really didn't do a heck of a lot either, but they did enough, and they stuck to the run, and those wide run game handoffs, those attacking the zone towards the sideline, and they eventually, after enough of them, it started to work and it started to pile up. Walker kept gaining yardage. Cooper Kupp made some nice catches when Smith and Jigba was out of the game, and I thought Darnold played a smart game. Did he throw a couple of passes that could have been picked off? Sure. I mean, Gonzalez had a hell of a game.
Yeah.
This was an absolute blowout. If there weren't three separate situations where Gonzalez got his hands on a ball that would have been for a big game or a touchdown. So I think Darnold played a decent game, but he didn't have to do anything more than that. And I think, like, that's not to say that's a knock on Sam Darnold, but really that just it proves how good the Seattle team is overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you mentioned Christian Gonzalez there. We talked about it last week, too. Like, this New England Patriots defense wasn't bad. They were great. There wasn't much separation between the Seahawks defense and the Patriots defense. Like, they're both top 10, Seahawks being number 1, and the Patriots were still in the top 10. Like, these weren't like a huge mismatch of defenses. They were going to make life difficult for Sam Darnold. It was just a huge mismatch between the Seahawks defense and the Patriots offense and what they weren't going to be able to do. And when you have a quarterback like Drake May that takes a lot of sacks that we've seen throughout the regular season, 48 during the regular season and 15 leading into this game in the playoffs, you knew that they were going to make life hell for him in this game, and that's exactly what they did. And early on, too, Mike McDonald wasn't messing around in the first quarter.
No.
In the first quarter,
No.
They were going to get to him, and they were going to blitz the crap out of him, and that's exactly what they did.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Coming up next, we will talk about how the Patriots should not have been in this game. That's next here on Westwood One Sports.
Seattle sits on top of the football world, Super Bowl champs, and Sam Darnold completes a comeback story for the ages on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. All right, let's just be real with it. Patriots should not have been in the Super Bowl. We were nice leading into the game, saying it was a charmed season.
Put in Notre Dame. What are you doing?
I'm just saying, we pointed it out throughout the run. They had a charmed season.
Yeah.
When you beat up on tomato cans like the Jets twice this season, and your schedule is the easiest in all of football, and you get to the Super Bowl because of these breaks that come along the way, congratulations to anyone in the Boston area on your run. But your team got their ass kicked last night because they were not good enough to be in the Super Bowl. And if I'm a fan of many other fan bases in the AFC today, I'm really kicking myself if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, if I'm a Jacksonville fan, if I'm a Broncos fan. Easy, Raj, I know. You want today's entire Raj Sharon in Colorado. He wants the entire show today to be dedicated to the ankle of Bo Nix, because if Bo Nix would have survived, then the Broncos would have won the Super Bowl. But I mean, let's be real. The New England Patriots were not good enough to be in this spot. They weren't. And the stats that we've seen from Drake May over the playoff run would say him being in the conversation for MVP, even though I tried to sell that to you a couple of weeks ago, he went against a soft schedule. It was propped up by a soft schedule. Yeah. He's playing a Pac-12 schedule when big dogs are fighting in the SEC and the Big Ten. That's what it is. That's what it felt like. This felt like a team that in college football goes 12-0, and then you say, should they be included in the college football playoff? And then they get there, and they get wasted by Alabama or Oklahoma or Michigan, teams that actually deserve to be there. That's what this feels like today.
And this is why when the line came out 2 weeks ago, I told you that I opened up my DraftKings app and I hammered the Seahawks.
Yep.
And I was upset that I didn't get 3.5 when it was posted, and then it quickly changed to 4.5. And I was like, whatever, any number below 7, and I'm happy with, because I knew that this is what was going to happen, because the Seahawks were that much better. This defense, as far as Super Bowl defenses go, and we can get into the nerd numbers. We love DVOA. It compiles every single play from a football game and spits out a number of how great that defense is or how great that team is. As far as defenses go, historical defenses, this is the 6th best defense ever as far as Super Bowl defenses go. The ones that are above it, the 2000 Ravens, the 85 Bears, the 2002 Bucks, the 2024 Eagles, and the 2020 Bucks. That's it. Yeah. And at one point, before the garbage touchdowns that the Patriots were scoring, they were 3rd. Like, if the game had just ended and the Patriots hadn't scored those garbage touchdowns.
Like, end of the third quarter.
Like, if the Seahawks had just held, they would have gone down as better than the 2024 Eagles and the 2002 Bucks. Like, they would have been that good. But they gave up some garbage touchdowns, so that obviously goes into their points and everything, like points allowed and everything like that. But it's like, this is why when we talked about MVP, and I was surprised that when the voting came out, it was that close. Matthew Stafford faced the toughest defenses. And Drake May faced the easiest defenses. And they were putting up points against subpar competition compared to what the Rams were. And I know this isn't an MVP debate, but this goes into the context of what the Patriots were facing all year. And then when we got to the playoffs, we saw that, okay, you're facing quarterbacks that are bad. C.J. Stroud had an amazing rookie year. And then ever since then, he's been bad. You can say regression or you can say what it is. He's bad. You faced a Broncos team that had a backup quarterback that hadn't played a game in 2 years. Simple as that. That's what happened. And when you faced a good defense, your quarterback got sacked 15 times in 3 games and turned the ball over and was lucky that his offensive lineman jumped on like 6 fumbles. Otherwise, you would have lost those games.
Yeah, that's true.
And if Bo Nix plays in that AFC Championship game, you're sitting at home yesterday on your couch watching the Super Bowl and not playing in it. Simple as that. So you were lucky to be there yesterday. And with all that being said, they could be back next year.
Oh, yeah. Like, the future's bright for the Patriots.
Drake May is super young.
This
He's gonna get better.
specific situation was a charmed run. It happened too early. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
Now, can Drake May develop? Absolutely. I'm not selling all my Drake May stock.
No.
I will say, sitting here in Chicago, it is interesting after a playoff run. I mean, Caleb Williams did have a better playoff run. Bo Nix in one game against Buffalo had a better game than Drake May had at any point in the postseason.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're trying to say, hey, who was the best player of this class or whatever it is from that draft class, which I think a lot of us do because there's a lot of really talented quarterbacks from that draft class. I think my main takeaway of the season, and I'm guessing there's a lot of people around the country that feel this way too, there might be a little bit more respect for what Caleb Williams was able to do this season in his second year in comparison now that what we saw Drake May do here in the playoffs. Because Drake May definitely struggled. There's no doubt about it that here in the playoffs, Drake May struggled to the point where 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, sacked 21 times in this playoff run. And just last night specifically, the 6 sacks and just holding on to the football for so long. And the major difference from our perspective in Chicago, watching Caleb Williams from year 1 to year 2, is he took the most sacks out of any quarterback in the NFL in year 1. The difference was he got rid of the football or he got out of there. Drake May looked like a deer in the headlights, waiting for the Seahawk defenders last night to come have a free hit on him. And so that also adds in. You take all of those hits and you have a shoulder situation going into the Super Bowl. Did the Patriots downplay it throughout most of the playoff run or the Super Bowl 2 week leading up to it? Perhaps. But also, when you look at it, I mean, Drake May really struggled here in the playoffs.
Well,
I think that has to be a part of this story when you look at this team. They're ascending. Quarterback is ascending, but he really struggled here at the end of his second season.
I think you also have to look at what he couldn't do yesterday as well. Like, it wasn't just taking sacks and turning the ball over. And I think if you were watching the game yesterday, Chris Collinsworth did a great job of saying, look, this isn't just sacks. This isn't just the interception where when he threw the interception, Chris Collinsworth just was silent and goes, I got nothing for you. That was such an indictment on Drake May. It was hilarious. It was one of the funniest things I've ever heard Chris Collinsworth say. But he went through it and he goes, he's not hitting the easy throws. And whether that's the shoulder injury or just the moment after taking that many sacks was just too big for him, and whatever it was, that's where you're going to see the improvement in Drake May from year 1 in this system with Josh McDaniels and going this far and playing in the Super Bowl, and to year 2 in this system to year 3. Because let's be like, I know he's not a rookie, but this was his first year in the system, and the dude went to the Super Bowl. Like, it's a great year for Drake May. But this was just too much for him. It just was. And he was missing easy throws. He had guys that were wide open, and he was just sailing the football. That's week 2 and week 3 stuff. You're not supposed to be doing that in the Super Bowl. Like, that's where this is frustrating if you're a Patriots fan and you're sitting here the day after wondering what went wrong. In a game where you're down 2 scores, which, by the way, we got to talk about what Mike Vrabel didn't do, not going for 2 at a certain point.
Oh, yeah, I've got it down here. It
what
was
are you doing?
Certainly something that caught my eye yesterday in the fourth quarter.
But when you're down and it's a field goal game and you're missing easy throws, that's the little things that bring you back in games. That's the little things when you start chipping away, when you're like, guys, we're down. Like, when you're rallying the offense in the first quarter of a game and you're like, guys, we need a touchdown. That's it. And we're in this. Like, they've been kicking field goals. They're not doing anything either. Like, we're both bad right now. Like, everybody's bad. We're collectively bad right now. All we need is to get in the end zone, and this is a game again. That's it. And they were able to get in at one point, and they were chipping away, but it just wasn't enough.
Can you explain to me what took place in the fourth quarter? So 12:56 left in the fourth quarter. Patriots score a touchdown made to Hollins. So the score is now set up to be with an extra point, 19-7. That would put the Patriots down 12.
Okay.
Why did they kick the extra point there? If you go for 2, that would make the score 19-8.
Yeah.
It's an 11-point game. That's a 2-score game. That's a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal to tie the game for the Super Bowl. Why the hell did Mike Vrabel just kick the extra point? When he kicked the extra point there with 12:56 left in the fourth quarter, down 12, the game was over.
Yeah.
Because that logic would lead you to believe that the Patriots believe that they would have more than 2 possessions in the fourth quarter with 12:56 left. You don't really have that amount of time.
No.
Now, technically, if we want to get technical, the Patriots did have 3 possessions.
They did.
But 2 of them were back-to-back because one of them was a pick 6. So you got the double possession because you just gave up a touchdown on a pick 6 on a turnover from Drake May. So you, in reality, only had 2 possessions to try and come back. What the hell was Mike Vrabel talking? What was he doing?
The point is this. You made a 2-score game a 2-score game when you could have made a 2-score game a 1-score game.
Yeah.
That's it. You could have you could have gone down 8 when you went down you made a 2-score game a 1-score game. You could have done that. You made a 2-score game a 2-score game. And that's the problem. Going into and people don't like probability, and some people will say, well, you take the easy points. And no, in the Super Bowl, you get as many points as possible. Their win percentage went down 8 percentage points by not going for 2. By kicking the extra point, their win percentage stayed the same. If they had gone for 2 and failed, it would have stayed the same as kicking the extra point. If they had gone for 2 and gotten it, their win percentage would have gone up 8%, almost 10 percentage points.
Being down 12 or 13 doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's the same amount of possessions. But getting to 11, 11 is the key number because if you can get down 11, then you just need 2 possessions. And theoretically, what would take place is that last
touchdown
possession is a field goal
to tie the game.
Which, in today's day and age of the NFL, you just got to get somewhere close. Somewhere close to midfield, and you got a chance. Because at least you got a chance for the Super Bowl. If I'm a Boston sports fan today, I've got to be irate with Mike Vrabel, and I get it. Your team got your ass kicked. You didn't have a chance. You lost the game. May with the turnover at the end in the fourth quarter sealed it. But if you wanted a chance, you had to go for 2 there.
Well, the problem is that they were so shocked that they scored.
Oh, come on. You can't be thinking like that.
I don't know what he's...
Maybe he's a good old football man. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take them.
Well, take
free point right there.
No, take the 2. That's what you got to do. Because if you make it a 2-possession game, you make it a touchdown field goal, and that's what it is.
That's what I would think.
Because I know the field goals were all within everybody's range, but NBC gives you this would have been good from whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody was hitting field goals that were good from within 60 yards yesterday.
Right. I saw on the broadcast, they said there was slight wind, like a 10-mile-per-hour wind in the stadium.
That's not.
But you're also in Southern California. I mean, in Northern California, right? Like the weather was good. You had no issues. You didn't have sleet or snow or winds like you dealt with at home against the Texans.
That's nothing.
In that game that you won early in the playoffs. Like I was just shocked that with 12:56 left in the fourth quarter, they took the extra point and then they were down 12. Well, okay, now you need 3 possessions. Or 2 touchdowns.
Well,
right? Like the key would be you want to make it so you just are down the 2 possessions with one of those being a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
What they did was they needed the 2 touchdowns, which with an offense that was not able to move the football well at all throughout the game, it seemed like that was going to be pretty difficult to do. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Protect small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com.
And remember, it's not his first rodeo as a head coach with Mike Vrabel, but this is his first year as a head coach with the Patriots after taking some time off. To me, not coach of the year type stuff from Mike Vrabel.
Oh, now you're going to walk off that now.
I wouldn't have given him coach of the year.
Okay.
I wouldn't have given him coach of the year.
All right.
Not me.
Last week, we had a great time in San Francisco while we were on Radio Row, bringing you all the sights and sounds from Super Bowl 60. I think a marquee item of the week was Abdalla's efforts trying to secure soup each and every day for Super Week. We will update what Abdalla was able to accomplish in San Francisco coming up next.
From the Legion of Boom to the new generation, Seattle climbs the mountain again.
And the Seattle Seahawks have won Super Bowl 60.
2 titles, 2 eras, 1 championship franchise. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
The Seahawks win the Super Bowl 29-13 over the New England Patriots. Seattle's defense shined last night, constantly hitting Drake May. And then, of course, Sam Darnold looked really good as well as the redemption story for Sam Darnold continues. We'll talk about that in just a moment. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. So last week we were in San Francisco on Radio Row for Super Bowl 60. It was a great time. We had a fantastic week. If you missed any of the conversations we had, they're all on our podcast page. That could be found on Apple, Spotify, or the Odyssey app. You can download our podcast from last week, all the great interviews that we had. You can also follow us on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel at Bleck and Abdalla Show, we have a bunch of interviews right there on the podcast, on the YouTube channel as well. Kurt Warner, Baker Mayfield, Victor Cruz, Devin Hester, Demario Davis. We had all kinds of Big E from WWE back in the day. Big E, Mike Mayock. We had all kinds of great content right there on our YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe to Bleck and Abdalla Show on YouTube. Not only did we have a great time on Radio Row, hanging out, talking to all these great NFL people, these great NFL minds. The one thing the Bleck and Abdalla Show likes to do to preview the Super Bowl is we have a bit called Super Week.
Super Week.
Where Abdalla has a quest to find a new soup each and every day throughout the week leading up to Super Bowl 60. And Abdalla, so we were in San Francisco this year. How did the week go with Super Week?
Oh, what a week. What a week. First week in a different city than Chicago for Super Week, so got to spread the legs a little bit, expand a little bit. I got to go for a little walk. We're walkabout.
We're a professional show.
Yeah,
Keep
absolutely.
the legs together my man.
No. I got to go for a little walk and find some soup.
It's
you know
not
what I mean?
Spread the legs, it's stretch the legs.
Whatever. You know the saying.
I spread the legs with some soup. You don't want to do that.
I mean, I might burn myself. You never know how it works. So we went around the finest chowders and bisques that San Francisco has to offer. A lot of seafood, a lot of great seafood in San Francisco. They're right by the bay, right there on the water. So I decided to venture out and find only the best that San Francisco has to offer. So night one, we had some fine dining. You, myself, and Raj, we were at Skoma's. Great restaurant picked by yourself. Had the wild Gulf shrimp bisque. It was delicious.
All right.
4.5 out of 5 bowls. It's a 5-bowl rating system that I rate this on. Great bisque. Delicious bisque. The second day, it was kind of like a chain situation.
Oh, what do you mean? How so?
It's like a small chain that's native to San Francisco.
Okay.
So it's not like I went to Panera or something like that. I went to like a San Francisco chain called Boudin, and it's a they specialize in like sourdough bread and like sandwiches, but they supposedly have a very good clam chowder, and I tried it, and it was just okay. But the bread was delicious, and it came in a bread bowl, sourdough bread bowl. So
that's delicious. In San Francisco. That is a bread bowl, a sourdough bread bowl. That's the San Francisco treat, my friend.
Was, yes, absolutely. And so I gave it 2.5 out of 5 bowls, but I gave it the extra half a bowl to bring it up to 3 bowls.
Okay.
Because of the sourdough bread bowl.
This is a real scientific grading system you have on soups.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, if the bread bowl's good, I give it the extra half a bowl because it's a bowl system.
Okay. Yes.
Then on the third night, the haters didn't want us to have soup because you made a reservation.
Who are the haters?
You didn't want me to have soup because you made a reservation at a restaurant that did not have soup.
I didn't know that.
You went and you found and you did research and you found a place that did not have soup.
That wasn't the thing that I was searching for. I just searched for a good restaurant on the water.
One of the finest dining cities in America, known for its seafood freshly caught, and we went to a tapas restaurant.
It was a Spanish tapas place, but it had seafood.
It had one seafood dish. We got one fish.
First of all,
that we split with Raj. We got one fish.
Raj in Denver, Colorado. Am I wrong? Did we not have multiple seafood dishes at this restaurant?
We had 2 seafood dishes.
There was the octopus thing. I see you guys are from Chicago, so as we learned last week hanging out, you are like refined foodies here in Colorado. I am like more of your quick service restaurant kind of guy. So it was a real learning experience for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had that like octopus looking thing, and we had the fish thing that had the bones in it. So there's 2.
Fish thing with the bones in it.
Well, Raj,
Yeah,
I didn't know if you know this, but fish, a real fish has bones in the.
Yes.
A real
These
fish
things
has bones.
weren't just like easy
They're
to
not
find
fish
bones
sticks.
though. And hey, I dig on fish sticks. Okay,
It was a
But
whole.
that thing.
What was it? Bronzino?
It was a Branzino.
It was a Bronzino.
Not
It
only
required surgery to avoid the bones, but it
Yeah.
tasted good.
Poor Raj.
Yeah.
I would say this. Not only was there a fish dish as the main,
Yeah.
but Raj said the octopus. We had 2 different types of
Okay.
octopus for the appetizer.
All right. The point is,
Oh, that's
guys
right.
are-
I forgot we had the calamari. Yeah, that's true.
See?
So it's
Thank
3.
you.
Okay.
No
all right.
seafood.
who doesn't
Get
have
outta here.
Olive Garden has calamari. The point is that they didn't have soup. So after dinner, I had to Grubhub some soup to the hotel. And I got a lobster bisque from Hyde Street Seafood House and Raw Bar.
Okay.
Old school seafood place in San Francisco. They got like the marlin on the wall and they got all the nautical stuff on the wall.
Love
It
that.
was great. What a lobster bisque. My God.
Good
what
bisque.
a soup. 4 out of 5 bowls. Delicious. The fourth night, we went to another dinner with our friend Ryan McGuire, who also a hater, didn't want me to have soup.
Oh, unreal. You're throwing Ryan under the bus?
Didn't want me to have soup. Booked a restaurant, didn't have soup, did not want me to have soup. So once again, I had to
The hell's wrong with you?
Grubhub some soup to the room. I went with the avgolemeno soup from Sovla, a Greek soup. I've never had this kind of soup. It's a Greek egg and lemon soup with rice. It was delicious. Next time I have a cold or flu, I'm definitely going to go with this soup because it was hearty. It's got rice, huge chunks of chicken in it. It was delicious. 4.25 bowls out of 5 in this one.
Okay.
And then Friday, I was up against it Friday.
Were you?
Because we woke up, we had to do the show. The show was on until noon Pacific time.
I hope Raj just heard that. We had to do the show.
had to
No,
do
no,
the
no.
show. I've
We
never felt
had
more
to do
proud.
the show.
No.
We had to do the show.
I'm just
I
going
hope-
through the day.
I hope Bruce and Armin heard that as well.
I'm going
we
through the day.
had to do the show.
That's not how I meant it at
Raj
all.
and I appreciate
That's
the
not how
opportunity
okay.
to have the
Don't
show.
put tone in my mouth, okay? That's not how I meant it. I'm
had
going
to
through
do
the
the
day.
show.
We woke up. We did the show. We have to do the show. I'm going through the day. We have also no soup places are open before noon. Soup is a lunch, and unless you're doing breakfast soup, which is cereal. But I didn't want to do that because I've done that before.
Okay, all
I've
right.
had breakfast soup before. I don't want to repeat soups. So didn't want to go the breakfast soup route, so I had to wait until noon. Decided that I could try to time a Grubhub soup to the hotel because we were leaving right after the show to go to the airport. I could try to find some airport soup, or I could wait until we got back to Chicago to get some soup at my apartment when we got home. I chose, unwisely, airport soup.
Airport soup.
Airport
And I
soup.
researched, so we're all riding to the airport, all
Yeah.
3 of us together. I'm
Raj
on my
did
phone,
work.
Googling
Yes.
restaurants
As the
in
senior
San Francisco
producer
Airport.
that he is, yes, Raj was
Serving
doing
soup.
producer work.
Wow.
Yeah,
And I found the little
yeah.
enchilada. The little chihuahua. Excuse
Little
me.
chihuahua.
Apparently had soup, but that's not where you guys went because we were on separate airlines. So after security,
Yes.
we went our separate ways. So I was kind of curious, how is Super Week going to conclude here at San Francisco Airport?
Yeah, so you went to a different terminal.
It
We
wasn't
went to
great.
a different. We went to Terminal 2.
I tried it too.
I went to Urban Tortilla and got the tortilla soup. You would think with the tortilla in the name that the tortilla soup would be good.
What was that, next to Gate 12?
Yeah, it was bland.
I think you should have went to find the little Chihuahua. My feeling is it would have been
I didn't want to
there.
go to a different terminal. You know how problematic it is to go to a different terminal, especially for me. It was full of cheese. It had lots of corn. It had a decent amount of chicken. They gave me a lot of tortillas, which helped.
Yeah.
2.75 out of 5. I'll give them the effort for filling it up with cheese and tortillas.
Yeah.
Not a great way, but overall,
okay,
an outstanding week of Super Week. Next year, L.A. for Super Week.
Can't wait.
Cannot wait.
You have 12 months to get ready your soup.
We got 51 weeks to get ready for Super Week in L.A., and I cannot wait.
Yeah, and so I would say, so we're in the airport on Friday afternoon after the show, after we had the privilege of being able to host our radio program.
Listen, I was not complaining about it.
Yeah. I would say I saw Adam order the tortilla soup, and I thought to myself, a good tortilla soup is probably in my top 3 foods ever.
Was not the only soup option in the terminal either.
I love tortilla soup. And so I said, you know what? For the finale of Super Week, I'll join Abdalla, and I'll get a cup of soup as well, of their tortilla soup. And what did, first of all, because it's an airport, they handed us wooden spoons. What are we, on the Oregon Trail?
It wasn't even like good like wooden spoons.
Like I thought
either.
I was going to get a paper cut or
like
something.
balsa wood.
Yeah, like it was terrible. And then so I took 2 bites of the airport soup.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and I go, I think I made a mistake.
It was bad. And it wasn't the only soup option. Like I turned down other soup options in the terminal. I was like, this seems like the best option, I think.
I mean, God bless them. They were very nice people.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where we ordered the soup and the little lady looked at us and then goes, yeah, the soup? And then she had to go in the back room away from the counter where they were making the tacos, the burritos, the quesadillas, and bring us the cups of soup. So it was airport backroom soup.
Yeah.
That's what we tried.
Not great.
To end Super Week. So good times. We loved it. It was a fantastic time we had in San Francisco. Coming up next, Seattle's defense. We talk about it here on Westwood One.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Noon to 3 Eastern, each and every weekday right here on Westwood One Sports. If you want to join the conversation today, you can call us at 310-840-4910. Live from Chicago, I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, and we're talking about the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 60. The Seahawks win 29-13. This is what it sounded like on Westwood One Sports.
In the gun, Drake May, 3rd down 5. He's at his Patriot 44. Running back to his side, Stevenson. Arms outstretched, 4-man rush. Here's the snap. He moves up. He fumbled the ball, and Seattle's recovered. He was hit. The ball crowbarred free. It's a fumble by the Patriot quarterback. And Seattle has recovered at the 37 of New England. First turnover of the game in Super Bowl 60. Darnold under center, 5 on the defensive line. He gets the snap, turns right, fakes the handoff. Here comes the blitz. There goes the throw, end zone. Caught, touchdown! Caught, touchdown, Barner! The tight end, over the shoulder catch in the corner of the end zone. And we've got our first touchdown of Super Bowl 60. And the Seahawks extend their lead early in the 4th, 18-0. Here goes May on 1st and 10, heaving and long, throws, caught, touchdown, far side. Grabbed on that far side by Matt Hollins, and over the shoulder catch at the pylon far side of the end zone. A 35-yard strike. He's at his own 44. The New England quarterback, 2nd down and 3 in the gun, winds up long pass down the middle. It's intercepted at the 30-yard line. Coming up the middle of the 40 with the return right here now. It's Julian Love, and he's out of bounds on the near sideline, going into Patriot territory, and he's knocked out of bounds about the 32. It's the second turnover by the second year. Patriot quarterback Drake May. Shotgun snap, 44 Seattle. He's hit it. He drops back. The ball free. Picked up by Noosu. Running down the side. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. It's picked off and a touchdown. Seattle has scored on another turnover. And that will seal it seems, right now for the Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. The clock is ticking, 2, 1, and that's it. And the Seattle Seahawks have won Super Bowl 60 in pretty dominating fashion. 29-13, they win their second Vince Lombardi trophy.
Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner on the call on Westwood One. Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you, talking about the Super Bowl as the Seahawks beat the Patriots 29-13, led by their defense. 6 sacks, 2 interceptions. They had 11 quarterback hits on Drake May last night. And for the run for Seattle, maybe perhaps before this season to suggest Seattle would win the Super Bowl could be a bit surprising. I don't think it's very surprising that the winner of the Super Bowl came from the NFC West. You know, right? Like some of the conversation we had heading into the season, Adam, was that San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, all were teams that could make the playoffs. And throughout the season, they were 3 of the best teams in football for most of the season, especially Los Angeles. So to see Seattle run through San Francisco in the divisional round, Los Angeles in the conference final, and then to win the Super Bowl like they did last night is a pretty impressive feat.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, when we talked about the best 2 teams in the NFL throughout the season, it was the Rams and it was the Seahawks, and the team that gave, you know, besides the game, I mean, obviously you're not going to go through the season undefeated. That's extremely hard to do, but the teams that really put up the best games against the Seahawks all season were the Rams. And we saw that in the last game that they faced them in the regular season, and then in the NFC Championship game, that the Seahawks were really, that defense was tested the most by the Rams. And we saw it when, even in a win, Matthew Stafford and that offense put up over 500 yards passing towards the end of the regular season. And in the NFC Championship game, we were like, whoa, that was still an offensive battle despite how good these 2 defenses are. And going into this game, the Super Bowl, we talked about how if Drake May is really the MVP candidate that he is, if he can put up those type of numbers, then this is going to be a game. But then
he couldn't put up those type of numbers.
He could not put up those type of numbers and playoff. And now here's the problem. Moving forward, Sam Darnold put up great regular season numbers when he was with the Vikings.
Yeah, he did. Yes.
What did he do with the playoffs? He turtled.
Yeah, well, when he was with Minnesota. He didn't turtle this year, though.
No.
He had his best game of the season in the NFC Championship game.
Drake May put up great regular season numbers. What did he do in the playoffs?
I mean, he didn't play well at all.
He didn't play. He had an awful.
And I think that's being nice.
You're being nice, dude.
I think that's being nice.
You're being nice.
Drake May was terrible in the playoffs.
He was sacked 21 times and had an insane amount of turnovers, and he was lucky that his offensive lineman fell on a few fumbles.
What are we doing with Drake May? What's the nickname? The schedule? Did you see that going around?
Yeah,
people are calling
that doesn't roll off the tongue the way I would like it.
What about tomato can?
Oh, that still doesn't, like, I would like it to rhyme.
To be like the old boxing analogy that he's beating up on tomato cans?
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, like it.
See, I still think that Drake May is a good football player, though. Even though he's struggled.
I like it, too. I like him. And
I felt bad for him. You know, he's tearing up. He gave it his all. He's talking after the game. Hey, credit to Drake May. At least he showed up and spoke. Will Campbell didn't speak to the media after.
Could he? He was pressured 15 times. The dude was getting beaten up.
He didn't speak to. He declined to speak to the media. After the game.
Well, look, he was getting just beaten up left and right over there, and he was responsible for giving up 15 pressures of Drake May.
Yeah, but that's weak, man. You're in the Super Bowl.
I understand.
If we sat here the day after the Chicago Bears lost in the divisional round to the Rams, we ripped DJ Moore to shreds. Because he didn't speak to the media, and He hasn't spoken yet on
know.
why he gave up on that route and why the Bears lost that game.
I know, but when do we care that an offensive lineman speaks to the media?
I mean, he was the story for the Patriots of why they were so bad offensively.
Okay,
he was getting beat.
but
You're right. Every single play.
I know, but when you have a weak spot on your offensive line and you know it's glaring for 3 games and you have a month to figure it out, if you're coach of the year, Mike Vrabel, figure it out.
You would hope.
If you're Josh McDaniels and you've been to how many Super Bowls, figure it out.
More than one.
Okay? Figure it out,
He's
dude.
been to a few.
Like, come on. You've got an MVP caliber quarterback. You've got one of the best offensive coordinators in the game. Figure it out.
Seattle on this run, they have a 10-game winning streak, and 7 of the games that they've won on this streak have been won by 10 or more points, which would then put this into the conversation of how do we view Seattle winning the Super Bowl last night 29-13 in historical context? Because the numbers would lead us down a path that would suggest that this is one of the best teams we've ever seen win a Super Bowl. It didn't quite feel that way as the season was going along. I feel like for these conversations, people tend to like when they know ahead of time that this is going to be the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've seen it in the past. I think of the 07 Patriots, right? Brady, Randy Moss, the points, that team dominated that season. They had the chance to go undefeated, right, to be the only team to sweep the entire season, and then they lose in the Super Bowl to Eli and the Giants, right, with the catch. That was the season with the catch on the top of the helmet from Tyree. Wasn't that that Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So I think, like, that was a storyline people were able to follow. When I think of the St. Louis Rams with Kurt Warner, the greatest show on turf, that team, they won a Super Bowl, and we knew throughout the season, because of the points that they were putting up and because of they took the league by storm early in the year, and so it was something to follow. The 85 Bears get thrown out. Teams from the 70s with the Steelers. Like, we knew that those were the all-time great teams. Early 90s Dallas Cowboys. You knew that those teams were the all-time greats. When we look at Seattle, it's not crazy to look at some of the statistics that are out there that suggest that this Seattle Seahawks team is on par with some of the all-time great champions in the NFL. I just don't know if people will buy it because it's not how we've labeled Seattle throughout the regular season until this point. But now looking back, now that we know they're the champion, you and I were on this show at the start of January saying that we don't know how this is going to end. But the people with nerd stats are suggesting that Seattle could be an all-time great team.
Yeah.
And an all-time great team in comparison to only a couple, and it was the 85 Bears, the 07 Patriots, and the 91 Washington football program. Those are the 3 that always stand out, especially to DVOA.
Well, and now that it's said and done, the Super Bowl is over, now we have those full rankings according to DVOA, which is compiles every play in a football game and spits out a number, and it ranks
every down and distance
team.
For the entire season.
Every single thing. So number 1 all time is the 99 Washington football team. That team is the best team ever. Number 2, statistically.
That's what the DVOA statistics always point to, the 91 Washington team as the best statistically great team in NFL history.
The 85 Bears are number 2, not too far off. The 07 Patriots are number 3.
And those are always the 3.
Yes.
When you look at these categories of like all-time great teams,
yeah,
those are always the 3 that stand out based on how the seasons went, how dominant they were, how they just kicked a blank out of every team that they faced throughout the season.
And after last night, we have a new number 4. The 2025 Seattle Seahawks are your new number 4 team of best teams ever, according to what Chris and I believe is like the ultimate ranking stat. And they've been keeping track of this since 1978, so it goes back pretty far.
Yeah.
And after them, in the top 5 is the 1989 49ers, and then after that's the 1996 Packers. So right now, this is one of the top 5 teams of all time. And their defense is one of the top 6. They were ranked 6th as far as Super Bowl defenses. And until they gave up a couple garbage touchdowns, they could have been top 3. So, like, we watched last night, we watched one of the best teams of all time. And I think because they played in the NFC West and because they were so neck and neck with the Rams, and the Rams just have more names. Like the Rams have McVay and Stafford, and like they just have like the more, like they're Hollywood. They're the Rams. Like for lack of a better word, like they just have the more Hollywood type names that we weren't focused on the Seahawks. And maybe that played to their advantage in some way.
Well, I mean, clearly Mike Macdonald is the absolute guru of defensive football now in the NFL. First head coach to call defensive plays and win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, he's also a young dude, so he's going to be around for a while. Like, this is the guy. He's also in a division with two head coaches who most people point to as the best offensive-minded head coaches in football. You know, the short list will have Andy Reid on it and a couple of others, but it's McVay and Shanahan. And Macdonald being in their division, being able to out-scheme defensively, those two gurus of offense, I think just adds to the lore of what we're talking about here, is that I kind of felt going into the season a Super Bowl champion would come out of the NFC West. I told you back in September I was taking the Rams. I thought the Rams would win the Super Bowl. I was wrong. The Rams got close, and they were beat out by a team in their division, and those games were epic games this season. So it did come out of the division. I would say also, when you look at the defensive side of things with Seattle, you have to compare the Seattle defense to some of the all-time greats in the NFL. And maybe that's the case. Maybe you nailed it there, is that on a national scale, there are not a lot of superstar players on this defense. Because when I read you off this list of other great defenses to win Super Bowls, to be in the conversation, I think every time I name a team on this list, from coast to coast, people are going to say, oh, yeah, I remember that guy played for them. I remember that Hall of Famer. I remember this name. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I mean, just to start the list, the 1985 Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Right? People can remember, and even if you're a younger guy, you're aware of the Super Bowl Shuffle, which was a team calling their shot mid-season that they were going to win the Super Bowl. Like, imagine if someone did that today. The amount of viral backlash you would get if a team went out and recorded a music video dancing, line dancing, bragging that they're going to win a Super Bowl that doesn't take place for another 2 months from that date. Right? Like, the playoffs haven't even started. This is in the regular season, and they recorded it the day after a loss. And they said, nah, we're going to win the Super Bowl. So there's names you can recall. Dent, McMichael, Singletary. There's all kinds of legendary Bears names on the 85 defense. What about the 2000 Ravens? I mean, the 2000 Ravens, when that season was going on, the topic of conversation, I remember at the time, was, is this defense better than the 1985 Bears? And Ray Lewis was an absolute monster on that defense. The 2002 Buccaneers, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, right? There are all kinds of great players on that defense with the 2002 Buccaneers. The 2013 Seattle Seahawks, Legend of Boom, right? Like, it immediately jumps out. You think Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, right? Cam Chancellor, great defensive players for that defense. The 2015 Broncos had a run, really good defense. So, like, when I list you some of the all-time defenses in NFL history, and then you say, hey, by the way, the nerds over there are suggesting that this Seattle defense, hey, they might be better.
Yeah.
They might be better than some of the names that you just mentioned.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like look, DeMarcus Lawrence comes over first year. You know, Witherspoon is great, but they've got names, but it's guys that have been assembled, guys in their first year with the team. The Legion of Booms took some time to come together. This team isn't going anywhere. This team is right now on DraftKings tied with the Rams at plus 950 to repeat. This is going to be a very tough division, with the Rams and the 49ers, and they're going to beat up on each other, and one of these teams, I believe, I'll already pick it, is probably going to be in the NFC Championship game again, right? and whoever comes out of it is probably going to end up in the Super Bowl. And I would imagine that's when, now that the target is on this team's back, this is now when you start to get the superstars. This is now when America starts to, all right, this is now the star on this team. This is now Richard Sherman. This is now this guy. This is now this guy.
And to relate it back to that Seattle team, I think that's what had to have happened, because they were that good they said it on the TV broadcast last night. They were the best defense in football for 4 straight years.
Exactly.
And that's what builds the stars.
Yes.
Right? So if Seattle gets back to this point again next season, most people will know the names. I know football diehards, you know the names, but you will have more national star recognizability across the country.
I forget whether it was Tirico or Collinsworth on the broadcast yesterday said something to the effect like we were watching Pac-12 After Dark last night, where it was I don't know how much of the country's watched this team. It's guys, it's the NFL. Everybody
we're watching every game every week.
People watch these games. I know it's the Seahawks, but people are still watching the Seahawks. They're on national. I know they'll be on national TV a lot more next year because of how good they've been. They won the Super Bowl, so they'll be on national TV a lot more next year. But I do think that because they're not the Rams, a lot of people didn't know who these stars on defense are, and now get familiar because they're not going anywhere.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Coming up, we will go one-on-one, and that's next.
Seattle's scoring defense went from 21st to 1st in 1 year.
It's picked off and a touchdown! Seattle has scored on another turnover.
The Seahawks flipped it fast. Did they reveal a new blueprint for the league? This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you here on Westwood One Sports until 3 Eastern. It's our favorite time every Monday to go one-on-one, and we welcome in Raj Sharon in Denver, Colorado.
Aww.
What's up, Raj?
Back to Denver.
Hey, fellas. Do you miss me yet? Already?
Yes,
Yeah.
Raj. How about this? Raj, come on out to Chicago.
Yeah.
Come hang out with us.
There's room in the studio.
Yeah. You got a little space here.
I would love a visit to the Windy City. I would love a great piece of pizza. Do you have stuffed crust there?
Yeah,
Stuff,
you've
you
never
don't
had
want-
it.
you don't-
You've
you don't
never
want
had it,
stuff.
so we'll
It's kind
take
of an
it.
inside
We'll
joke.
take
So I
it.
watched
Yeah.
the movie Karate Kid Legends on the flight back, and
Okay.
first thing the kid says when he gets to New York is, "Do you guys have stuffed crust pizza?" And they just sort of look at him because, well, they're in New York. So there you go. I figured the city
Yeah,
would work for Chicago. All right.
The quick spiel on that, Raj, for anyone listening is if you're a tourist, we'll take you.
We'll take you to get deep dish.
Have
Yeah.
you try it once. If you live here, you're not likely to be someone that goes and gets a deep dish slice frequently. It's more of a tourist thing.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll go
All
for
right,
some soup.
one-on-one.
All right, we ready to go one-on-one? All right, here we
do
go.
it.
Let's get started. All right, first up, the Super Bowl was more about Seattle dominance or New England incompetence, Abdalla?
Oh, dominance. That's what we spent the last hour talking about, the dominant defense. I mean, it's something that they've had all season long, allowing the least amount of points per game, having that dominant front seven, like whatever they can do, and like really asserting themselves early on by blitzing as much as they did, which is something that they don't normally do, and just saying, all right, Drake May, this is your first rodeo here in the Super Bowl. I mean, really for Darnold too, but like, we're gonna make life hell for you, and that's exactly what they did.
You know, what's something that stood out to me is multiple people last week on Radio Row, NFL experts, former players, tried to pitch to us that Josh McDaniels was like this elevated level of offensive coordinator / God level offensive coordinator. And
He got assistant coach of the year while we were there at Honors.
Good. Except your game plan looked weak against Seattle. And so I'm going to lean dominance because I think I understand why Raj is asking us, dominance or incompetence, because we spent time today talking about the decision to take the extra point and not go for 2 with 12:56 left in the fourth quarter to make the score an 11-point difference instead of a 12-point difference. That right there, that to me is incompetence. I think the game plan for McDaniels, a bit incompetent as we look at the way the game kind of developed. Drake May, as the game played, was a bit incompetent, being able to get rid of the football, take care of himself, and not get hit 11 times. It felt incompetent in the moment, but I think that would be disrespectful to Seattle, so I'm going to say dominance. They dominated that game, Raj. Who gets the point? Come on.
I will give the point to, you'll split it. You guys both made good points. We're going to remain tied going into question 2.
Half point each. All right.
All right.
Next.
All right, Bleck, you're up here. Drake May or the Patriots' offensive line is the main reason that New England was blown out when they were on offense, Bleck. Drake May or the Patriots' offensive line?
I'm going to go with the offensive line. I think Drake May can play. I know that Adam will, quote, give us the numbers on the sacks here in just a moment. We'll hand it off to him. He'll give us the Drake May sack numbers.
The fumbles. The text chain was immediately blowing up last night with the
I think it's the offensive line.
If
Drake May had a better offensive line in front of him, I think he's a pretty good quarterback, ascending quarterback. So I'm going to say it's on the offensive line.
The answer is yes. The answer is it's both. Because when we talked to Kurt Warner last week, he said it's both issues. It's Drake May thinking he can make every single play. It's Drake May holding on to the football too long. It's Drake May thinking he can scramble and then fumbling the football yesterday. But it's also Will Campbell. Like, Will Campbell is an issue that is going to be addressed in the offseason, whether they move him inside to guard, whether they just draft a replacement or sign a free agent and they just make him a rotational, a swing tackle, whatever they do. He's a problem. And so the answer is both. Like, you can't be sacked over 45 times in the regular season and then 21 times in the postseason.
How many fumbles? Come on, Abdalla.
Too many. And 1 in the Super Bowl and 2 interceptions. Like, you can't. So it's on him, but it's also on the offensive line. Like, you can't pick because both are the issue. So the answer is yes. Both are the problem.
All right, point goes to Bleck for calling out what Abdalla would say, and then Abdalla actually says it. Not only says it, makes it like the climax of his argument, and then doesn't even pick a side in a bit that's completely based on picking a side. Point goes to Bleck. He is now in the lead going into question 3. Abdalla, let's see if you can get back into this thing. Super Bowl MVP should have gone to Kenneth Walker, as it did, or someone on that dominant Seattle defense.
Not only should have gone to someone on, I'll tell you who it should have gone to. Devin Witherspoon. It should have gone to Devin Witherspoon. It absolutely should have gone to Witherspoon, not only because he was the most dominant person on that defense, but it's because I fired a live bet on him on DraftKings after he had the sack. That's why, because I lost money on it. That's the main reason. Come on. You give it to a running back? What is the first time since 1992 or 98? Something like that is what I saw.
98.
Terrell Owens.
98. Yeah,
Terrell Davis.
Davis.
Yeah, Terrell Davis. Yeah. Ridiculous. Come on, a running back in this economy? That's what we're doing? No. The dominant defense is what won the game. You give it to a defender, and it should have been Devin Witherspoon. Come on.
Yeah, and Raj, all I'm going to say to this answer is it should have been a defensive player. It should have been Devin Witherspoon. And I would just point to last week in San Francisco when you guys said who's a player to watch for the game, I said Witherspoon. Did I not say Witherspoon to you guys?
You did.
Did I not say Witherspoon would be the difference in the game? All right, I'm just going to take my victory lap. I don't care if I concede the point in this question. I'm taking the victory lap on calling it out before the game.
I'm going to give the point to Abdalla for being petty enough to bring up his own gambling loss in the argument. Like, I'm here for that. So
I'll bring up our wins.
Now.
We went 3-1 in our bets, on our DraftKings bets.
Pretty good.
All right. This next one, I am curious where you guys are going to come down on this. Mike Macdonald now is or isn't the most brilliant play caller, and here's the key part, on either side of the ball in the NFL. I'm including Ben Johnson. I'm including Sean McVay. I'm including Kyle Shanahan. Is Mike Macdonald the most brilliant play caller on either side of the ball, Black?
I'm going to say he isn't because of a couple of the names you just listed off and one you didn't. Andy Reid is still coaching in the NFL. Andy Reid is the most brilliant play caller in football. I think McVay is shortly right behind that. That wasn't a dig at his actual height. And Shanahan is right there in the conversation as well. So I'm going to say he isn't, but as far as defensive minds go, he's number one.
Yeah, I think he's the best defensive mind out there, so he's the best on one side. But I still think that, he went 2-1 against McVay, and so the McVay still got one on him. He beat Shanahan, but Chris is right. Andy Reid is still there, even though I think Andy Reid still has Mahomes, and that does shine him up a little bit. I do think that he's high up there. But I do think McVay is, and I do think Shanahan, if the 49ers were fully healthy, I would like to see that. If Shanahan had a full team, I would like to see that matchup. So I'd wait and see on that one.
All right.
All right, we're going to remain tied then. Neither of you really swayed me.
Right.
So let's go rapid fire with some. Neither of you guys.
All right, got to get in the game.
All right,
Fourth quarter
fun
starting
ones
up.
Here.
Gerald McCoy told us, fourth quarter. Let's go.
Fourth quarter.
Here we
Put
go.
your fours up, everybody.
Technique time.
The best A crew to call a Super Bowl on TV is the crew we got last night, Tirico and Collinsworth, or is it Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, or is it Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady, or is it Joe Buck and Troy Aikman? Abdallah, what A crew do you want calling your Super Bowl?
Oh man, I really like Burkhardt, and I think the problem is I don't really care who the play-by-play guy is. I more care who the analyst is, and I think Tom Brady is becoming one of the best because he's analyzing the game and doesn't really care how nerdy it is, and doing very well at that, and the leap he's taken from year one to year two. Collinsworth is great when he doesn't care anymore, like what he did yesterday when Drake May threw the interception. Brady has to start doing that a little more.
What a line.
Once Brady stops caring about quarterbacks' feelings.
That was the line of the Super Bowl.
So in a roundabout way, I'm going to say Collinsworth and Tirico because Collinsworth stops caring about feelings. Once Brady stops caring about feelings, that's when he will be the best. So I'm going to say Tirico and Collinsworth.
Raj, you have that line from Collinsworth from last night?
I do. Give me one sec here.
He was at a loss for what he saw.
I know. It was great.
It was so
good.
The
absolute best.
Intercepted. Dylan Vise throw in the middle. Julian Love has it. Love 50. Love 40 and out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
I've got nothing for you here. And if people are unaware of how TV broadcasts work, is Collinsworth gets a replay in the booth before we see it.
Yeah.
So when you think to yourself, man, those guys always know exactly how the play was broken open, like how that block happened. They're so good in real time. The reason they're able to do that is they have a monitor next to them that is showing them the replay before it's shown on TV.
And that was after...
So that's like an inside TV thing, and you could tell that Collinsworth saw the replay in the booth before we did and was like, I got nothing.
And that was after Collinsworth were like, those were two of Drake May's best throws all season long. And then he was like, and I got nothing for you.
Raj, to answer your question, I think that I think Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are the best booth. But I am a sucker for the broadcast overall, and I think NBC does the best job for an overall broadcast. They set the scene. It looks crisp on TV.
That was such a good intro to the Super Bowl.
The intro was good. The scenes from around San Francisco, everything about it is just so good on NBC. Although I would rather hear a different booth. And to Abdallah's point, Burkhardt and Brady are coming up quickly as probably the best, but I'm a Joe Buck, Troy Aikman guy. I think they do the best job.
Yeah. Last
All
one,
right.
Raj?
This is winner take all. Final question. We were there last week, all three of us.
Yep.
San Francisco was a great, good, okay, or awful Super Bowl host city. Bleck.
Okay, my perspective is where we had to be. We had to be downtown. I think San Francisco was a great location for a Super Bowl. With that said, the three of us at no point had to go down to Santa Clara and cover either of the teams and or actually go to the Super Bowl. We were in downtown San Francisco the entire time. We did take a trip to the EA Madden party.
Yes.
That was near Santa Clara, but that was just one evening, and we were back downtown. I liked being in downtown San Francisco for the Super Bowl, so I'm going to say it's great.
I'm going to say good because knowing what I know about other downtowns, like when it's in New Orleans, everything is downtown.
Right there.
So that's great.
Yes.
You know, Vegas, everything is right there.
Walkable.
Great.
Great.
I'll probably say the same thing about LA because everything is going to be so spread out, right? Like it's going to be good. Like it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
Because everything is going to be so spread out. You know
what
I mean?
The traffic bowl?
Exactly. Like when it gets to eventually Nashville's going to get one, that'll probably be great because everything's going to be right there.
That
you know
could
what I
be
mean?
good.
So I'm going to say good because when it gets back to New Orleans, that's going to be great. And Vegas is going to be great. So I'm going to say good just because the downtown experience will be better in other cities. So it's not like I'm not going to say okay or awful. It was good. I'll say very good. I'll go in between good and great. Very
Come on,
good.
Raj, she's cheating.
I was
Very good.
leaning towards giving Abdalla the point
Very
and the win for the
good.
day until
Very
he cheated
good.
and he
Very
amended
good.
it. Black, you win today.
Hell
By the way,
yeah.
you guys were both
Boo.
winners on this one. I'm the loser because of my little incident on our second to last night there with my little offer that I had to turn down. That does it for one-on-one.
Thank you, Raj. And if you were not with us on Friday, Raj was propositioned
Solicited.
by a lady of the evening the second to last night.
It was a reward
in
for
San
his hard
Francisco.
work. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
No, I mean, sure, absolutely. I could, yeah.
Raj put in a lot of time and effort
Yes.
to Super Bowl week.
Shouldn't say that. All right. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. I mean, he didn't go through with it.
I know.
He didn't hire anyone.
No.
There was no transaction of cash.
No.
He was just offered.
The offer was there.
I mean, he's a handsome man walking around downtown
absolutely.
San Francisco.
He's a man about town.
Why wouldn't a lady of the evening say,
Yeah.
hello, Raj, from Denver?
The line was, my man, you're looking lonely.
Looking
I think that was the
lonely
line
tonight.
I heard
You're
as I
looking lonely.
made a beeline right back to our hotel. And as soon as I walked in, I saw Costos and Zimmerman again.
Did you tell them that there was
you
someone
guys are
outside?
not going to believe what just happened to me. That's awesome. Thank you, Raj. We appreciate it. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Roger Goodell was on Westwood One yesterday on the pregame coverage of the Super Bowl. What did he say about expansion in the NFL? We'll play that next.
Seattle finally got their revenge. Victory against the Patriots. The Seahawks are your Super Bowl 60 champions on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Seahawks win the Super Bowl 29-13. It's Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you until 3 Eastern on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Also, SiriusXM Channel 375. If you want to call the show, you can call us at 310-840-4910. Yesterday on the pregame show leading up to the Super Bowl 60, Roger Goodell had a chance to sit down with Scott Graham, and this is what they had to say about possible expansion in the NFL.
Well, you can think of expansion as the number of teams, or you can think of expansion as us playing in international markets and reaching in different areas and expanding our international series. I think as far as teams are concerned, I think at some point, if our international growth continues the way it is, I can see international growth on an international basis and in some of these markets, which there undoubtedly, even today, I think there are cities out there that could support an NFL team. and we're at the early stages. So, I don't take international expansion off the table. I think it's very possible someday. Well,
that was Roger Goodell speaking with Scott Graham on Westwood One Sports yesterday in the pregame show, and I think that's something that you hear Roger Goodell say, that he won't take it off the table. It's in the early stages, and it's possible that a team overseas could be a part of the NFL. I don't know. It's not something that I need at all. I also know that last week when we were in San Francisco covering the Super Bowl, we had a different amount. We had a few different international games be released last week. The teams that are going to be playing overseas. And obviously, the NFL views it as a money-making opportunity because they can grow the game and get more people globally interested in the product. I get that. I don't need a team based out of London. I don't need a team based out of Paris or anywhere else, Germany or wherever in Europe, to participate in the NFL. And I know, though, the one team here in the States that's been rumored has been Jacksonville, that Jacksonville at some point could possibly split their home destination. Like half the season they're playing in Jacksonville, the other half they're playing in London. If not, they're just moving to London overall. I don't know. For me, I don't think that does anything for any football fan. I don't know. It just creates insane travel, issues for comparing teams and the amount of travel that they would have to play, to host games. What do they do when they come to the States? Are they here for a month playing all their road games in 1 month and then they go home for a month and then teams are traveling over to Europe? I don't know how that works.
No, and we talked to an NFL doctor who was a representative of their player safety last week at the Super Bowl in San Francisco. And to me, what does this say about player safety? You're having these guys travel all over the world. Now you want a team there. So someone has to travel there. Where are these? And then they're going to travel to the U.S. And then what? They're going to go back and forth? No, they're going to stay here for an extended period of time and have to play a few games in the U.S. and then fly back to wherever they're based out of, whether it's London or Germany, wherever this team is based, and then have more teams play there. And then what? They're going to fly back here to the United States and play more games here. It just seems out of place to have a team based in another country overseas. Now, if it was Canada or something, okay, that's not too far away, obviously. But if this was London or Germany or somewhere like that, then that's way too far away to ask multiple teams to go over there and play, or have that team. Who's gonna want to sign with that? What free agent?
Well, in this, so
is going to want to sign with that team?
The Players Association, I'm guessing they would push back on the idea of expansion to Europe because those teams, those players would either be forced to move there or and bring their families there.
Yeah.
Or have to just not live with their family for the 6 months of the NFL season, which you could do, right? This isn't some boring desk job where you can get it right. You're an NFL player, so one, you have the means. Two, you could do this on abbreviated schedule, but I'm guessing the players aren't going to want to do that.
No.
What player's going to want to be living in Florida and then have to be also based out of London? That's not the case.
You could even do an extremely abbreviated version where you could do your training camp here in the U.S. and then just go there before the season starts, and then just have, obviously, because you're playoff. And then what if they make the playoffs? Are you going to have a home playoff game over there?
Yeah.
What if they win? What if they win their conference?
Well, they would be that they would be based the European fan would have a team to support because now when you go to these European games or anywhere overseas, even in South America, it's a potpourri of NFL fans, right? You go to a game and you see every different jersey show up for the game. If there was a team based, say in Europe, say specifically in London, because that's where the NFL has traveled to the most, that would be London's team.
Okay, explain this to me, Roger Goodell. The London Jaguars win the AFC as the number 1 seed. And the road to the Super Bowl goes through London.
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
Well, you better hope you're not on the West Coast of the United States.
Exactly. Like, what are we
That's
doing?
a hell of a flight.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like
It's like a 10-hour flight.
They were pushing so hard this Melbourne, Australia game when we were in San Francisco. Like, oh, we're going to Australia. Ridiculous to me.
Well, okay, so even on top of the planning for a championship level game, what if it was there were a couple teams. Do you remember the final weekend of the regular season? And then we were getting ready for the wild card round, and that there was a discrepancy on how the games would fall because there were teams that were playing on Monday, right? Like the Steelers-Ravens game, or it was Sunday night. Steelers-Ravens, and then which team that won would be at a disadvantage heading into wildcard weekend, and then they moved that game to the Monday night game.
Yeah.
But there was a question on short travel days, and I believe, what was it, Chicago and Los Angeles in the playoffs all played, I believe, on short rest for the second round, for the divisional round off of the wildcard weekend. So I think that that's kind of something that would play into all this as well, is now you're throwing a whole extra side of it. If you got a team based out of Germany, Munich, you have the Munich something.
And they're good.
Come up with a mascot.
And you have to host a playoff game.
Steins of beer.
And they
right?
have
like they've got big beer mugs, right? Like, is their mascot. Like, how sweet would that be?
I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
It would look really good on a helmet, I tell you that much.
I just don't think they would want them to make the playoffs, because then you'd have to fly teams out there for like a playoff game on short notice.
On short notice, short planning, and especially for like travel's sake for anyone that just wanted to go. Like, that's the one thing. Like, here in the States, even though travel isn't that accommodating, you can get it done.
Yeah.
Especially at the team level. But like for a fan, you can get it done. Now, if you were a fan living over there, it'd be awesome, right? Like, it'd be a must get ticket.
For sure. But again, fans can make it happen, because fans don't have to worry about playing and getting their bodies ready. They just have to worry about showing up and cheering on their team. It's the teams that have to get their bodies ready and acclimated to perform at peak physical condition and sleep and all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't seem to be a concern for the NFL or Roger Goodell.
If you want to join the conversation, you can call us at 310-840-4910. It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Coming up, we continue to talk about the Seahawks, their domination of the Super Bowl. What was the most impressive part? We talk about that next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right. You can listen to us on the Westwood One Sports app, also SiriusXM channel 375, noon to 3 Eastern each and every day right here on Westwood One Sports. Jim Rome coming up at 3 Eastern. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla live from Chicago. If you want to join the conversation today, you can call us at 310-840-4910. And Abdalla, the Seahawks win the Super Bowl last night 29-13 over the Patriots. Seattle's defense was the story. They were awesome last night. 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, 11 quarterback hits. They made Drake May look uncomfortable the entire night.
Yeah, and they did something they don't normally do, and that's blitz in the first quarter and most of the first half to try to make Drake May uncomfortable. They normally can generate that kind of pressure without blitzing, but Mike Macdonald came out and said, you know what, we're not going to mess around. We're going to make Drake May as uncomfortable as possible and just kind of exert our will in this first half to make it known that you're not going to be able to do anything. And that's exactly what they did. They're the number one run stopping defense in the NFL already. And so they couldn't do anything on the ground to begin with. And when you're generating that kind of pressure, poor Will Campbell on the left side of that line.
Poor Will Campbell
on the left side of that line for that.
Sucked.
I know. He was bad.
Terrible.
He gave up 15 pressures. And no matter what they could, and they started helping him out with tight ends, with running backs, whatever. It didn't matter. No matter what he could do, they could not stop pressure from the left side. And it was hell for Drake May. And they gave up the 6 sacks. And it was something that has been a problem for Drake May throughout the entire season. Over 45 sacks in the regular season, now 21 in the postseason. It was not a question of if the Seahawks were going to sack Drake May. It was just a matter of how many times. and it was up to Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator, to kind of scheme around the subpar offensive line that has kind of plagued this offense the entire season, and Drake May trying to make every single play, and they just couldn't do it. The Seahawks defense proved why they were the best the entire season and why Mike Macdonald is the best defensive mind in the NFL right now.
Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner were on the call for Westwood One last night. This is what it sounded like, Super Bowl 60.
In the gun, Drake May, 3rd down 5. He's at his Patriot 44. Running back to his side, Stevenson. Arms outstretched, 4-man rush. Here's the snap. He moves up. He fumbled the ball, and Seattle's recovered. He was hit. The ball crowbarred free. It's a fumble by the Patriot quarterback, and Seattle has recovered at the 37 of New England. First turnover of the game in Super Bowl 60. Darnold under center, 5 on the defensive line. He gets the snap, turns right, fakes the handoff. Here comes the blitz. There goes the throw, end zone. Caught, touchdown! Caught, touchdown, Barner! The tight end, over the shoulder catch in the corner of the end zone. And we've got our first touchdown of Super Bowl 60. And the Seahawks extend their lead early in the 4th, 18-0. Here goes May on 1st and 10, heaving and long, throws, caught, touchdown, far side, grabbed on that far side by Matt Hollins, and over the shoulder catch at the pylon far side of the end zone. A 35-yard strike. He's at his own 44. The New England quarterback, 2nd down and 3 in the gun, winds up, long pass, down the middle. It's intercepted at the 30-yard line. Coming up the middle of the 40. With the return right here now, it's Julian Love, and he's out of bounds on the near sideline, going into Patriot territory, and he's knocked out of bounds about the 32. It's the 2nd turnover by the 2nd year Patriot quarterback Drake May. Shotgun snap, 44 Seattle. He's hit as he drops back. The ball free. Picked up by Noosu. Running down the side. 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown! It's picked off and a touchdown! Seattle has scored on another turnover. And that will seal it seems, right now for the Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. The clock is ticking, 2, 1, and that's it. And the Seattle Seahawks have won Super Bowl 60 in pretty dominating fashion. 29-13, they win their 2nd Vince Lombardi trophy.
The best in the business, Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner on last night's call of the game, Super Bowl 60, right here on Westwood One. It's Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you until 3 Eastern on Westwood One Sports. Seattle wins the game 29-13. The defense was awesome. I also think a part of the conversation, right, is that even though the offense wasn't doing anything super special, it did feel like to me, entering the 4th quarter, the score was 12-0. Mm-hmm. It felt like it was 30-0 because of the way this defense suffocated the Patriots' offense. And then Seattle puts up 17 points in the 4th quarter to really push the lead, and obviously 7 coming from a defensive turnover and scoop and score touchdown as well. And I think that what was part of my thought process watching the game is that even though it was 12-0 for most of the game, didn't it just feel like you're just waiting for the dam to break? Like waiting for Seattle to put it over the top. Like at no point did I think there's a comeback story in this game. Because like I do that when I'm watching a game with 2 teams that I don't really care personally about. I'm not a fan of either the Patriots or the Seahawks. I'm just watching football because I like watching football. Mm-hmm. I tend to lean in my internal monologue thought process towards trying to figure out if a team can come back in a game. I don't know if other people do this or not, but like I almost always will root when it's 2 teams that are playing and one team is down big. I almost always root for them to find a way to scrap and claw and get back into it. And I just couldn't see any point in the first 3 quarters. Like I didn't see 2 touchdowns getting put on the board by the Patriots and then stopping Seattle. Like, I just didn't think that was in last night's equation at all. It felt like it was over from the jump, even though it was 9-0 heading into halftime.
Yeah.
It felt like it was too much of a lead.
Well, one of two things was going to happen when the Seahawks had that lead going into halftime and they came out, and it looked like adjustments were made by the Seahawks and not the Patriots. The Patriots come out, they go 3 and out, and the defense continues to dominate for the Seahawks. The Seahawks come out, and one of two things is going to happen. Christian Gonzalez is having a game, right? And he basically is stopping the Seahawks from complete domination of this game. He stopped a couple touchdowns and huge gains in this game.
He was awesome.
One of two things is going to happen. Either Sam Darnold is going to put another ball where Gonzalez can just pick that off and take it back, or Gonzalez's luck is going to run out, and one of those balls is going to connect for a touchdown. And that's what happened. One of those balls connected for a touchdown, and that's when it seemed like it was over. That's what it was. Eventually, the dam broke for the Seahawks, and that's when it was. Eventually, you can only take so much, and it broke open for the Seahawks because that offense made the proper adjustments, and Sam Darnold came out, drove down, and got within it, and they scored, and that's when it felt like it was over. As soon as they scored that touchdown, you're like, okay, that's it. And then Drake May the mistakes started happening. You know, you had the interception return for a touchdown, and then you had another interception, and then you had a fumble. And then, like, it just started to avalanche for New England, and then they scored some garbage time touchdowns, and you're like, okay, well, they're not really coming back, but they're starting to believe a little bit. But it was just out of reach, you know? And then you had Mike Vrabel make a decision that could have put them in with 2 scores to tie instead of having to need a touchdown to go ahead, and he would have had to need a field goal to tie at the end of the game. I don't know why he didn't go for 2 when they scored their touchdown, but it didn't matter. The game was out of reach at that point anyway, and Sam Darnold made the plays that he needed to.
Yeah, he did.
He threw balls into traffic. He took risks, but you can do that when you have a defense that's as dominant as the Seahawks defense was. Because
stifling. When you have a stifling defense, you can play like that.
Because you could tell that they knew that Mike McDonald was calling a defense, and that this defense was being so aggressive and getting after Drake May, whether it was through pressures or whether they were actually getting home and hitting him, that this was going to be the game. They weren't going to do anything. And Sam Darnold showed up. He didn't have a great game. But you know what? He went from seeing ghosts 7-8 years ago to now holding a Super Bowl trophy. And is it a complete 360 to, or 180 to go from redemption story to now he's a top 10 quarterback? No, it's not. He didn't win Super Bowl MVP. He didn't put up 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. He didn't come out and light the world on fire in the Super Bowl. He had the game of his life in the NFC Championship game to get them there. But he did what they needed him to do. He didn't turn the ball over, and he made plays when he needed to get them the touchdown to put the game out of reach. That's it. That's what he needed to do.
Well, and that's who Sam Darnold is. I've always been a fan of Sam Darnold. I'm a USC fan, a college football fan. So I remember when Sam was at USC and the comeback against Penn State in the Rose Bowl, and he's one of my favorite USC quarterbacks because he was someone that saved that team time and time again. They were not as good as their record showcased because Sam Darnold in the fourth quarters of games in college was clutch. Mm-hmm. He was a really good player. Now, you're right. You laid it out how his professional career has gone, and I've always said it with Sam Darnold. He's good enough to win as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. He didn't turn the ball over yesterday.
He
tried, but he didn't. And he only took 1 sack. And guess what? His team won the Super Bowl. So congratulations to Sam Darnold. I think it's a really cool story that he had success last season with another good NFC team, and they didn't want him. And what did he do? He went to a different location with a better defense, even though, what was the calling card for Minnesota last year? The calling card was they had a great defense with a good young head coach, right? They had all of those pieces. And if you're a Vikings fan today, you got a really big kick in yourself. You had a quarterback, a quarterback who could get you there. And he just proved that he was able to do it. So I think the story with Sam Darnold is definitely a major storyline that we look at to take away from the Super Bowl. Now, he didn't have the best game in the Super Bowl. Kenneth Walker, the MVP, he had the 135 yards rushing. You had all those star defensive players making plays last night. So Sam was just one of the guys, but he didn't mess it up. And I think that's the key, is that you don't necessarily need a quarterback to win the Super Bowl. You just need a quarterback who doesn't mess up the Super Bowl. And I think on the other side of the field, Drake May at times last night was messing up the Super Bowl for the Patriots. They were in that game until Drake May decided to throw the football to nobody. Chris Collinsworth couldn't even muster up an excuse for him. I've got nothing for you guys. He had nothing on it. And so I think that's where you come back to Sam Darnold. The story of Sam Darnold is pushing through and continuously getting better. And as long as he doesn't make the mistakes, he's good enough to win with.
Yeah, and I think that that's been the problem for Drake May in the postseason so far. Like we've talked about it, all postseason. He turned the ball over a bunch in the postseason, and eventually it was going to get to him. He took a bunch of sacks. He was sacked 5 times a game going into the Super Bowl. And that's why we talked about it 2 weeks, for 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, ad nauseum. If you take 5 sacks against the Seahawks, you're going to lose the game. He took 6, and they lost the game. That's why I had no problem firing on the Seahawks -4.5, because it wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when the Seahawks were going to sack Drake May 5 times or more. And they did. And it was they had 3 in the first quarter. You knew it was going to be a lot when they had 3 in the first quarter.
Yeah, they were constant pressure. That's what it was. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Last week, we were in San Francisco on Radio Row previewing Super Bowl 60. We got a chance to talk with Kurt Warner. This is what Kurt told us on Thursday's show about Sam Darnold heading into the Super Bowl.
The normal thing for everybody to do is just go, well, he was drafted by the Jets, and the Jets were terrible, and now he's really good. I think when you watch Sam play early in his career that he had room to grow. He had to get better. He didn't play very well in those early stages, and he's embraced that part of it, whether that was going to Carolina, whether that was being a backup in San Francisco, but he embraced the journey and how he could get better and learning from the different people that he's been around. And then he goes to Minnesota, has a great year, and then finds, I think, a perfect fit in Seattle for what they want to do or what they've done this year. Fits perfectly with what his skill set is. So it's been fun to watch, and I love that storyline of this Super Bowl.
So check that out. Kurt Warner was on with Bleck Abdalla on our show. The full podcast is on the YouTube channel. So go to our YouTube channel at Bleck and Abdalla Show, and you can find the Kurt Warner video right there talking quarterbacks. It was great. We didn't want to waste this time. We wanted to go right to the quarterbacks and get his intel. Kurt Warner, one of the absolute best, and Hall of Famer, former MVP, Super Bowl champion. So those are his thoughts on Sam Darnold. You can find the video on the Bleck and Abdalla YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show. Like and subscribe.
And I think he's obviously right. Look, when you spend time with 2 of the best play callers and offensive minds in the game, in Kyle Shanahan and Kevin O'Connell, that you learn something. I mean, look at how it got Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah fired. The fact that Sam Darnold was let go and moved on and went to the Seahawks. And not only that, but Daniel Jones was also in the building and left and went to the Colts and did what he did early this year for the Colts until he got hurt. Like the fact that the Vikings had those 2 quarterbacks in their building and left. And like obviously the 49ers aren't affected by this because they have Brock Purdy, and he's a very good quarterback. And, they're sticking with Mac Jones as the backup because he filled in and was very good for them. It's just a system for them. So they can just fix quarterbacks, and maybe Kevin O'Connell can do that too, but it's not working with J.J. McCarthy. They should have obviously kept Sam Darnold, and they're probably kicking themselves for it today.
So the Seahawks win the Super Bowl 29-13. The Patriots should not have been in the game, and we tell you about that coming up next.
Seattle sits on top of the football world, Super Bowl champs, and Sam Darnold completes a comeback story for the ages on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Let's call it what it is. The Patriots were on a charmed run to the Super Bowl, and I think there's fan bases around the AFC that are kicking themselves today. Most notably, Denver, Buffalo, Jacksonville, all teams that I think could have made a run to the Super Bowl. Maybe have given Seattle a contest. Yeah, we saw what the Patriots did last night. Seattle wins the game 29-13. Bleck Abdalla, Westwood One Sports, and the Westwood One Sports app. But let's call it what it is. We talked about New England's soft schedule the entire season. We did. This show, you and I, we were together in a different place talking about New England's soft schedule.
Yeah.
And then we started up at the start of January here on Westwood One Sports talking about New England's soft schedule and talking about the fact that they're beating up on last place teams. And are they really for real? They made the run. They got to the Super Bowl thanks to Bo Nix breaking his ankle. Thanks to other situations like C.J. Stroud forgetting how to play quarterback. There's a lot of breaks, and I said the entire run that the Patriots are in a charmed run to the Super Bowl. It's a bit fake. It's not real. They're not that good. They have a bright future, and this isn't a shade at the Patriots moving forward. I like Vrabel. I like Drake May. They have a bright future. But I think there's a lot of fan bases today in the AFC who are sitting there looking at the way the game played out. Most notably in Buffalo, with Josh Allen, without any of the big dog quarterbacks in the conference for this playoff run, when it's like, man, this was your chance, Josh Allen, to win a Super Bowl. This was the chance. Jacksonville, they're a team that could have been better. They could have gotten to this point.
Yeah.
Right? They lost to Buffalo, but
sure.
they could have done this.
Well, I think
and Denver, obviously, if Bo Nix doesn't break his ankle,
yes,
you say, hey, the Denver Broncos could have won a Super Bowl.
They probably have the biggest gripe. I will say this. Before I go into this, the Patriots have the fourth best odds to win the Super Bowl next year. They're tied with the Eagles and the Ravens right now at 13-1. They're behind the Bills and the Rams and the Seahawks. Okay? The Rams and the Seahawks are tied at plus 950 to repeat. The Seahawks, obviously, to repeat. When you look at the Patriots, and this comes down to beginning with a conversation about Drake May and Matthew Stafford. The reason I was all in on Matthew Stafford to win the MVP from the jump, regardless of quarterback rating numbers, whatever nerd numbers you want to point to, why every nerd voted for Drake May. And I say that lovingly. I am also a football nerd. I love the nerdiest of football numbers in DVOA. I love them.
What about the one guy who voted for Justin Herbert?
Sam Monson?
Yeah.
The best part of that is that he was the day after that, he was standing at the front of Radio Row, like at the front, like waiting for people to come up and talk to him. I love that he came out and said it too. Props to him.
Yeah.
For like right after the vote came out,
sure,
he said it. He was like, I am the Justin Herbert voter.
Unlike all of us trying to figure out last week who did and did not vote for Belichick into the Hall of Fame.
Tony Dungy still not saying who he voted for.
Did you see Rodney Harrison just staring him down yesterday at Alcatraz?
Come on.
They were outside at Alcatraz.
He wanted to leave him there.
Yeah, I know.
Feed him to the Sharks. So if you look at this, Stafford played the toughest passing defenses in the NFL. Drake May played the easiest passing defenses in the NFL. To me, that says it all about who should win MVP. And Stafford had more touchdowns, took 40 less sacks. I know I'm exaggerating, but still took a ton less sacks and should have won MVP running away. But instead, it came down to a couple votes, which was crazy to me. And then you look, and I know it's a regular season award, you look at the performance in the playoffs, and that said everything to me. Because when you had to start playing real defenses, they beat the Chargers 16-3. Because that offensive line was decimated. They had over 45 different offensive line combinations by the end of the postseason, because they only played in one game, trying to protect Justin Herbert. And that's why Sam Monson said he should be the most valuable player, because look at what he had to deal with.
Sure, I guess.
Okay?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Regardless.
I understand
he
his
was
logic.
sacked 5 times in that game and turned the ball over a few times, okay? Then they face the Texans. C.J. Stroud is just flat out bad right now. The Texans have one of the best defenses in the league, obviously not the best because that's the Seahawks, because they have two of the best defensive ends in the NFL. And they're great. And if CJ Stroud could play quarterback, and they're one of the teams that should be kicking themselves, because if they were in the Super Bowl, if CJ Stroud could play quarterback like he did his rookie year, they probably put up a better fight against the Seahawks and are there. Then they win that game 28-16 because Drake May plays decent enough and doesn't turn the ball over, and his offensive line falls on a few fumbles because he continues to turn the ball over.
Yeah, I mean, like let's look at the Drake May conversation of this. Which player is he? Is he the player that was in the MVP conversation throughout the regular season? 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 47 sacks. Or is he the player that we saw in the playoffs? 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 21 sacks in the playoffs. I think the one thing that is just, it jumps out at you immediately. Drake May takes way too many sacks.
Yeah.
You're right. You were on this the entire playoff run. I just don't know if the heights that we saw in the regular season are really indicative of how Drake May has played to this point. I think it is interesting that we could maybe suggest that the nickname, right? The nickname's going around today on social media about Drake May. People are calling him the schedule because of the soft schedule for the Patriots.
Yeah.
I suggested to you Tomato Can because he reminds me of that boxer that's just setting him up to knock him down, and he's not getting any resistance. During the regular season, Sam Darnold looked all world. But then again, when you see the competition rise in the playoffs, and I think that's where, when you look at that draft class, we saw in the playoffs, Bo Nix played great in that home playoff game against Buffalo before he broke his ankle. So I like that Bo Nix gave us something to at least add to the conversation in the playoffs. Caleb Williams in the playoffs for Chicago was incredible.
Yeah.
He was by far, in the 2 games that Caleb Williams played in, the best player on the field. And I think that is the difference. Caleb Williams has had moments where it's been up and down in the regular season. Towards the end of the season, though, he really started to show out. And then in the playoffs, he played his best football. Drake May was playing his best football against teams that are not competing for anything in the regular season. So how do you judge that draft class? I know 2 years ago, people were telling me that Jaden Daniels would be an MVP candidate. You and I both thought that he's not durable enough to make it through an NFL season, and that came true this past year. And Washington seems to be in flux because new coordinators on both sides of the ball. What's going to go on with this team, and how are they going to move forward? So, I think in comparison to Drake May, I think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback from that class, and it's disappointing to see that May kind of took a step back here in the playoffs against tougher competition. Where when Caleb faced tougher competition in the playoffs and at the regular season, he started to play some of his best football against those teams with best defense situations that we saw. And so who is the real Drake May at this point? I think he's a developing young quarterback who did play great throughout the regular season, but when things got tougher, he is not someone that yet can just strive above the tough situation and win a game by himself as a young quarterback.
Well, yeah, and the only reason they scored in that AFC Championship game is because Jarrett Stidham threw a backwards pass, and they recovered that, and then he ran it in. Like, it's nothing that was special. If Bo Nix is in that game, he doesn't make that mistake. Jarrett Stidham was lighting up that defense early on in that game.
Well, if Bo Nix plays in that game, Denver's in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
I think that's the takeaway. You and I were on Radio Row last week, and we talked to so many former players and people analyzing football, and every single person said to us, they're picking Seattle. The players knew. The ex-coaches knew. Seattle was by far the better team. There was one person that said Patriots, Chad Brown. He was the only former player that told us Patriots. He played for both teams.
Yeah.
He took the Patriots. But outside of that, every single person, and for the majority, said it was going to be Seattle big.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes when I hear that type of thing leading into a game, I think that we're missing something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right? Like you never want to be Johnny Public with everyone else.
Yeah.
But I think what we all saw was Seattle they're that good.
Yeah.
And they were worthy of everyone in San Francisco leading up to the game being like, yeah, I'm taking the Seahawks.
Well, as far as Drake May goes and saying that the Patriots didn't belong, like, obviously they won those games. Like, this isn't the playoff committee and Notre Dame should have gotten in, right? Drake May, I don't want to say he needs everything to be perfect, but the Patriots need to address a few things. They got to do something with Will Campbell. You have to. That he cannot play left tackle.
Yeah.
Whether you make him a swing tackle and you draft someone to replace him, or you sign someone to replace him, or you move him to guard, he cannot be your left tackle. Sorry. He's not going to improve enough in an offseason to protect him, because if you think you're going to be a Super Bowl team, you can't rely on him. The second thing is, something has to be done about all of these sacks that he's taking. Over 45 in the regular season and 21 in the postseason. You just can't do that. And you mentioned Caleb Williams. He found a way with a new offensive mind in Ben Johnson, going from Matt Eberflus, obviously defensive-minded head coach in that offensive system, to cut down the sacks. They completely changed their offensive line, bringing in 4 new offensive linemen and having to go through 3 different left tackles during the regular season because of performance and because of injury. But they figured it out. And he cut down his sacks by more than half. He was sacked almost 70 times in the regular season, and he cut them down by more than half. So don't tell me it can't be done. It can be done. And that's something you have to do. And Josh McDaniels is supposed to be one of the best offensive minds in the NFL. He's supposed to be one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL. And you're supposed to be able to scheme against a weak part of your offensive line, and they could not do it yesterday. Like, they were trying to protect him. They were bringing in tight ends. They were trying to chip guys. They were doing whatever they could, and they just could not help Will Campbell to save their lives, to save Drake May's life. They just couldn't do it. So I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason, but if they fix that, if Drake May can take less sacks, and also like Kurt Warner told us last week on Radio Row, dude, throw the football away.
Throw it away.
That's part of the reason how you take less sacks. Throw the football away.
Live to play another down.
Run out of the pocket, escape the pocket, and throw the football away. Watch Aaron Rodgers. Throw the football away.
Is there anything that caught your eye from the Super Bowl last night that wasn't on the field? Was there anything that you enjoyed? We talked about heading into the weekend, looking forward to some of the musical performances.
Oh, yeah.
Bad Bunny at halftime.
Bad Bunny was awesome.
He was awesome.
I thought it was great. As far as like I've heard some Bad Bunny before. I like his music, but as far as like the production goes,
it looked cool.
It looked great.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it all looked like a single shot for most of it, and he was falling through buildings and he was jumping off of things and did like the trust fall onto people. It just looked cool. Like that was the whole thing for me, is that it's hard to translate a Super Bowl halftime show and make it look cool on TV. And I thought they did a really good job of making it look good for TV. Like, it was very cinematic.
Well, and it also, the fact that it was dusk, so it wasn't dark in the stadium, which I think would play into some of the like effects that you would use in the stadium with the lights and lasers and all kinds of stuff.
But it fit what he did.
Like the fact that it was light out, I kind of thought to myself, oh, I wonder if Bad Bunny is walking out on the field being like, oh, man, my performance is going to be ruined because it's not dark in here.
I think he planned to fit what he was doing for it to be dusk.
Your thoughts on Charlie Puth?
Charlie Puth,
you big fan?
Under cashed big. Under a minute 59.
Quick song there.
Quick anthem there for him.
Quick. I'm not really a fan of like the dad core dress that he's trying to bring back.
That's what people do, man.
The like 80s look.
That's how the youngsters dress now. You're 40, man.
I think Charlie Puth is our age. I don't think that's youngsters. I think he's a dad. I don't know. But like,
you can be a dad and be young.
Yeah, but the leather
Charlie Puth is 34. So let's
it's not too far off.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not too bad. Commercials. Is there a commercial? You're a big commercial guy for the Super Bowl.
So here's what I noticed.
You love your commercials.
The Jurassic Park one is my favorite, obviously, because I'm biased. Jurassic Park's my favorite movie.
I just claim they're just items where they throw people into. There's cameos. That's all it is now. No one has a creative commercial.
Well, here's the problem. The problem with the commercials this year is that AI commercials bought like the entire first half. Like there were very few like of the celebrity and like funny and like that those like your traditional commercials until like late in the second quarter and into the second half. All of the the tech commercials were early. I'm like, where's Budweiser? Like, where's all the traditional, like, funny, or trying to be funny at least, commercials? It was all AI and, like, all these tech companies that were buying ad space early on.
Did you like the Dunkin' commercial with all the callbacks to the sitcom characters?
No, it was fine.
What about the Pepsi with the polar bear?
That was
switching sides.
I like the call out to the Coldplay guy. That was funny.
What about pulling at your heartstrings with America and potato chips?
The potato chips
and the Lay's Harvest.
No, the
potato
Budweiser.
chip
To me, the
commercial.
Budweiser one with the Skynyrd song was really good. I like that
was
one.
Right. I'll agree with you. I think the most creative commercial from last night was the Jurassic Park one. Like, how would it be different if they actually were able to keep the security system online?
There's no other movies.
I do
we did it.
Like seeing the stamp of approval at the end from all the characters. Like that was creative.
It worked.
That was a creative way to use cameos and to do something that I thought that was a decent.
All
one.
the dinosaurs stayed inside. We did it.
I thought that was pretty good.
Nobody died. I like that. I'm trying to think of the other one that did well or that was good. No, that was it.
That's
kind of it.
Were you? What about the Pringles one? Did you like the Pringles one?
I don't remember a Pringles one.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, the Sabrina Carpenter one. Yeah, it was okay.
All right, okay.
It was all right.
All right. Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One
Again,
Sports.
like they were all so late in the. Like,
well, I know they're all cameos. There's very few that are creative.
All
anymore.
these AI ones where it's like, okay, Claude. And then there's another one where it's like the Google where it's like they're making a kid's bedroom or whatever. It's like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Oh, you know which one I do need to talk about? I mean, I saw this online. Other people have come up with this. This is not my original thought.
Okay.
Other people have come up with this. The fact that essentially Ring doorbell cameras have implemented what Batman used to triangulate where the Joker was located.
And Minority Report.
In the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Like, did everyone put that together? That now, so the commercial is this. If you have a Ring doorbell and your dog goes missing, you can send an alert, and the other Ring doorbells in your area will help search for a dog in their area. So it's essentially surveillance of all of us 24/7 now.
Yeah, but just for dogs,
no,
right?
Just for dogs.
Uh-huh.
Just for dogs. I mean, that is exactly what Bruce Wayne uses in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
To find the Joker.
And Morgan Freeman says you're not supposed to do that. And he said, just this time.
Just this time.
Just
and then
this
I'll
time,
shut
bro.
it down.
And then I'll shut it down. And he's like, you're not supposed to. He's like, no, just this time.
Except now we have that for dogs.
Yeah.
You're right. We're only going to use that for dogs.
Okay, just for dogs.
Just for the dogs. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. We talked to Baker Mayfield when we were in San Francisco last week. What did he tell us about Sam Darnold? We'll play that next.
From the Legion of Boom to the new generation, Seattle climbs the mountain again.
And the Seattle Seahawks have won Super Bowl 60.
2 titles, 2 eras, 1 championship franchise. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Bleck Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, noon to 3 Eastern. Jim Rome coming up in 13 minutes right here on Westwood One Sports. Make sure you check out the podcast of Bleck Abdalla on Apple, Spotify, and Odyssey. You can also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Bleck and Abdalla Show. Thanks to Raj Sharon for producing today's show. And also on loan from the Drake C. Toll Show, Curtis Poindexter hanging out with Bleck and Abdalla today. Have fun, Curtis, going back to Drake's show. Abdalla has an idiot of the day for you to take to the show tomorrow. Give
Idiot of the
See?
day.
Give Drake one for tomorrow.
Josh McDaniels for not adjusting to Will Campbell's lack of being able to play, to not being able to play left tackle.
Curtis is on point. First of all, none of this was planned.
None of this was planned.
None of it was
planned. I had one ready.
Attaboy, CP.
There you go.
Thank you, Curtis.
Thanks,
Appreciate your
Curtis.
help today. Laura will be back tomorrow. It's Bleck and Abdalla. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to Bleck and Abdalla's show. Lots of great content from last week at Super Bowl 60 Radio Row in San Francisco. We got a chance to talk with Kurt Warner, Victor Cruz, Devin Hester, Mike Mayock, Demario Davis, Big E, Sean Merriman. That's all up on our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla's show, including our chat with Baker Mayfield. We had an awesome situation. We were allowed to go off-site to go talk to Baker Mayfield in his hotel room away from the mess at Radio Row. So it was a really cool conversation. That's up on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out. Burgers with Baker. We're having Sonic Burgers with Baker. So check that out. It's on the YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla's show. And this is what Baker Mayfield had to say to us about Sam Darnold last week in San Francisco.
I think just the system he's been in the last couple of years and had success, I think it fits what he's able to do really well. So when you find that fit, then you find a good place to be, that they give you all the resources and tools to have success. Good things are going to happen. So, it's playing quarterback's not easy. So when you find the right situation and the people that believe in you, put you in a position to be able to show those abilities that Sam has, and he's got a lot of God-given natural abilities. So it's fun to watch him be in a good situation. But yeah, it takes time to find the right spot.
So there you go, Baker Mayfield with Bleck and Abdalla last week. You can find the full interview video on our YouTube channel, Bleck and Abdalla Show on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. And the reason we started talking about Sam Darnold is that we talked to many people in the NFL last week who kept mentioning that Sam Darnold's progression to this point, and now Super Bowl champion, reminded them of Baker Mayfield and what Baker has gone through to go from Cleveland Browns quarterback to bouncing around to a couple different locations, to now being an absolute stud for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their franchise quarterback for the future.
Yeah, and if he had that kind of defense that the Seahawks have behind him, and his weapons would stay healthy, like that Tampa Bay Bucs team was decimated by injuries this year. If Baker had that kind of defense and his offense stayed healthy, there's no reason why this Bucs team couldn't be right up there with the Seahawks and the Rams. The problem is no one can replicate the defense that the Seahawks had this year. Simple as that.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Another big element of the Bleck and Abdalla show while we were in San Francisco. Abdalla, his quest for soups. We call it Super Week each and every week as we head to preview the Super Bowl. Abdalla has a different soup each and every day. That's the bit. That's it. A new soup each and every day. Were you successful last week in San Francisco?
Yeah, it was a great soup week. It's the first time we ventured outside of Chicago for Super Week. This is, I believe, year 4 for Super Week, and it was a great Super Week. And so we wanted to get some seafood. We wanted to go see all of San Francisco because it's a great seafood town. So
sure.
So day 1 we had the Skoma's Wild Gulf Shrimp Bisque. It was a great dinner spot that you picked. 4.5 out of 5 bowls. It's a 5-bowl scale, Chris.
Yeah,
it's a shrimp bisque. It was great. Huge chunks of shrimp. It was awesome. Then I wanted to get some clam chowder. So I had the Boudin clam chowder. Sourdough bread bowl. The clam chowder was a little disappointing. Boudin is a small chain, so there's a bunch of restaurants. It's kind of like a Panera, but it's like a local Panera to San Francisco. But their sourdough was amazing. So 2.5 out of 5 bowls, but I gave it an extra half a bowl because the sourdough was great. Then you decided to book a restaurant for you, myself, and Raj that didn't have soup. I believe you did this on purpose because the haters don't want us to have soup. So I had to Grubhub soup back to the hotel after dinner. I had to get more dinner after dinner. So I got
more dinner after dinner because I was sabotaging it.
I got lobster bisque from Hyde Street Seafood House and Raw Bar. It is a very famous old school seafood place in San Francisco. Great lobster bisque, full of huge lobster pieces, fresh lobster, 4 out of 5. What a bisque. Then the next day,
a bisque.
Then our friend Ryan McGuire did the same thing. The haters don't want us to have soup.
We weren't sabotaging.
No, I think there was a little bit.
No.
A little bit.
No.
A little bit. So,
I support Super Week.
So we went to dinner at another
soup.
place that didn't have soup, so I had to, again, Grubhub some soup back to the place. I had the avgolemeno soup from Sovlas, a Greek soup I've never had before.
Sure.
It's a Greek egg and lemon soup with rice. Delicious. If you ever have a cold or the flu, it's cold and flu season, get this soup. It's awesome. 4.25 out of 5. And then Friday, I had to get airport soup.
Airport soup to end the week.
We did
what
the
a great
show,
week.
and then we had to leave. We had to get on a plane. We had to come back to Chicago, so I had to get airport soup. So we were in Terminal 2. I went to Urban Tortilla, and you would think because tortilla's in their name that they would have a great tortilla soup.
I love tortilla soup.
Unfortunately, it was not great. 2.75 out of 5. They had a lot of cheese in it, so I like cheese, and they gave us a lot of tortilla chips. So
Not gonna lie, I joined you for the tortilla soup in the airport.
Not good.
First and last time I will eat soup at the airport.
Airport soup? Yeah, not good.
Not something I planned to do, but I saw you go for the tortilla soup, and I thought to myself, I love tortilla soup. I should join Abdalla for the finals.
Not going to complain. It was a great, very successful Super Week. Can't wait for LA next year.
Yeah, because you had to do the show.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You said it. I didn't.
I think you said it earlier in today's show.
Nope.
I think that was the case. So Super Week was fantastic. I will have to talk to you tomorrow about this. I gave you a list of adventure places to go to in San Francisco. Did you see any of it?
I saw some things.
I gave you an entire list. The Golden Gate Bridge.
I saw that.
Fisherman's Wharf.
We were there.
Alcatraz. I've given you all Lombard Street. I give you all this flavor of San Francisco. Did you do any of the activities?
I saw some things. I made some friends.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Outside the convention center and working on Radio Row?
I saw some things and I made some friends. Yeah. I did some of those things. I saw the bridge.
You did not see the bridge.
I saw the bridge. Did you not see the bridge?
From afar, you saw the bridge.
Seeing the bridge is seeing the bridge. Wait, it's a bridge. You've never crossed a bridge before?
I have.
It's a bridge.
Okay, all right. We'll just have to talk about it perhaps tomorrow. Jim Rome coming up next right here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.